I'm Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse. The severe weather threat much less than what we had earlier, but there's still some thunderstorms that are set to roll into the eastern side of the Big Bend region. The front coming in before sunrise, maybe one more round of rain, and then breezy, clearing, and turning quite cool. But just be aware of more rumbles of thunder overnight. There's your no-wait weather.
Live from the WTXL studios, this is ABC 27's News at 11.
Shocking allegations tonight from parents of players on the Florida A&M University women's basketball team.
An investigation is underway into verbal abuse, bullying, and discrimination based on sexual orientation. Hello, everyone. I'm Paulo Salazar.
And I'm Abby Maurer. Sports Director Allison Posey joins us now with details on the allegations and the investigation.
Allison, tell us what's going on in this situation.
Apollo, Abby, we received information from 3 parents today who claimed their daughters were abused, bullied, and discriminated against, specifically by FAMU head women's basketball coach LaDon Gibson. Each parent alleges the coach used profanity, calling their daughters names. They also allege that Coach Gibson made derogatory remarks about players' sexual orientation and discriminated against those athletes who identify as gay or associate with basketball players who are gay. All 3 athletes have been dismissed from the team. London Holland was released in February, according to her parents, because she, quote, didn't complete her study hall and the coaches couldn't deal with her anymore. Kennedy Burks was released yesterday, according to her parents, because of academic concerns, while Deanne Whitlow was released today for, quote, non-productivity on the court. Now, tonight I spoke with one of those parents who did not want her face to be shown. She did say she met with athletic director Milton Overton, Deputy Director of Athletics Elliot Charles, Coach Gibson, assistant coaches Andrea Johnson and Terrence Chapman back in January about the allegations. And at that time, according to the parent, the athletic department said they would look into the issues tonight. She wanted to make it very clear she believes the university is out of line.
These coaches, they feel like, it's abuse of power. I'm so disappointed with the university. You send your child 500 miles away and a person sits and they look you in your face and they tell you that, I'm going to treat your child like she's my own, and looked me in my face and told me that bold-faced lie is the very person that has mistreated my child, and I don't appreciate it. And I'm going to fight for this 100%. I'm not giving up on this.
Now, when we received the allegations against Gibson and the program, we did reach out to the university's media relations department, and Florida A&M issued the following statement. To the extent there is an ongoing investigation pursuant to 1012.191 Florida statute and FAMU regulation 10.129, such documents would be currently confidential from disclosure. End quote. However, WTXL has obtained a copy of a message sent from the university's Office of Equal Opportunity Programs to 2 of the athletes, stating the FAMU Office of Equal Opportunity Programs has been informed that there are concerns about the behavior of the coaches of the women's basketball team. These concerns include verbal abuse and bullying of student athletes, adverse actions against student athletes involved in same-sex relationships. The email went on to say to please contact the office if they wish to disclose any concerns. Now, in addition to reaching out to the university, we also reached out directly to the athletic department. AD Overton is out of town, but stated, quote, if something is going on, we have no comment on an ongoing investigation.
And Allison, I know it is ongoing, but what's the next step in this, the next stage?
Paula, we will continue to stay on top of this. Like you said, it is an evolving situation, and see what the school has to say moving forward. One parent told me tonight that they did reach out to the NCAA, and they told her they have put in an urgent request to look into this, while another parent said they are considering legal action against the university.
All right, thanks, Allison. I know you'll stay on top of that for us. Severe weather swept across the southeast tonight. First responders arrived on scene of a truck and car found underwater in Peachtree Creek in Atlanta.
At the same time, lightning is thought to be the cause of 2 fires in Gwinnett County. No injuries were reported at either location. The WTXL storm team has been following the system closely and has more on the latest track.
Cass, where is the greatest intensity of the storm system now?
When it comes to our local aspects, the strongest storms are not all that incredibly strong, but they are situated in sections of Appalachia Bay and portions of the eastern Big Bend. And that's basically one zone that just has not had a whole lot of storm activity so far today, but we still have the effects of a very swift southerly and southwest wind, plus ample amounts of moisture coming in from the bay and the Gulf, plus an existing warm air mass that's really helping to at least keep a few of these spotty areas of rain going in the offshore waters and into the eastern side of the Big Bend. And one of the strongest portions is just off of the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge, moving pretty quickly towards the northeast. So this may roll into the western side of Taylor County. There's also at least a few little streaks of rain, occasional buildup of lightning and thunder, even into the I-75 corridor of South Georgia and into the Osceola River area. And this is still part of the same boundary that was making its way through the region in a little more substantial strength, especially across inland and interior South Georgia, where there were quite a few active thunderstorms and even severe weather potential, some of which is being renewed, especially across the Chattahoochee River area, metro Atlanta, with another line of active thunderstorms, which does stretch into the southeast Alabama area. It's very unlikely we'll have a renewed source of severe weather locally speaking, but the more north you go, I think we can maybe see a few more active thunderstorms that could add on to hundreds of overall storm reports, a mix of hail reports, gusty winds, several tornadoes across middle Georgia earlier today. I don't think we're going to see that shifting south, that sort of tendency, but there is still at least a few spotty areas that could get in on some passing showers. And eventually, the cold front comes through. It will help to drop temperatures from where they are right now in the mid-70s. More about Thursday and beyond coming up in just a bit during your Storm Team forecast.
Thanks, Cass. A big event for riders is coming back to the capital city this weekend. Word of South is kicking off this Friday. The festival features authors, musicians, and everything in between. It all takes place at Cascades Park, rain or shine. This year, more than 100 artists will be featured. WTXL is a proud sponsor of Word of South. For more details, you can visit our website, WTXL.tv. Still to come tonight on WTXL, ABC 27 News at 11, a bill going through the Florida legislature would force college athletic booster groups and university foundations to open their records and books to the public. Details ahead.
Plus, Florida State Seminoles took the mound tonight looking to sweep Florida Gulf Coast University. Allison Posey will have your final score later in sports. A new motion in the Taylor County murder case claims the crime scene was manipulated. The family of Garrett Arrowood maintains his innocent as he serves a life sentence for the death of his aunt, Shelley Strickland. The family attorney wants to interview three individuals tied to a piece of evidence that wasn't collected until several months after the original investigation. Now, take a look at these two photos. The first one shows medication in the Tuesday compartment. The initial indictment said that Strickland died on a Tuesday, but superseded the indictment, extended the time frame to 3 days. Now, this picture was taken by a Taylor County deputy 6 months after the murder. The second photo was taken during the initial investigation, and it's not clear if there are pills in that same compartment. Strickland's daughter testified at the trial, saying that the pill organizer had not been tampered with when investigators collected it.
What we're most concerned about is pursuing the truth. And in this instance, there was a photograph taken of that pill organizer on January 20th by Deputy Hooker. You see the exhibits. You look at it. Does that pill organizer indicate, when you look at it, that there are pills in the Tuesday compartment?
The attorney wants to interview Assistant State Attorney John Weed, the Taylor County deputy, and Strickland's daughter under oath to show evidence tampering. Now, the state attorney's office responded saying it is senseless to rehash this issue and objects to being questioned under oath.
Florida's college College athletic booster groups and university foundations could be forced to open their records and books to the public under a measure moving ahead in the Florida House. Current state law allows university groups to keep most of their records private. Now, if the bill becomes law, athletic boosters and university foundations could only keep confidential information on the names of donors. The legislation would also prevent colleges and universities from using taxpayer money to pay for people who work for direct support organizations.
Under a bill approved by the Florida House, students and school employees would gain wider rights to express their religious viewpoint at public schools. The Senate approved a similar bill, but the House version is not as broad. The bill won approval on both sides in the House and was approved by 114 to 3. The Senate bill allowed students to wear clothing that conveys a religious viewpoint. That's not included in the House version. Legislators have a month left to work out a final agreement on the bill.
The Florida House wants to fight opioid addiction by placing new restrictions on how doctors prescribe painkillers. The House passed a bill today that would, in part, limit the first prescription for opioids to a 5-day supply. It would also force pharmacies to report the dispensing of a controlled substance to a state database by the end of the next business day, instead of the current 7-day deadline. A similar bill in the Senate has 3 more committee stops. Time now for a quick break.
But first, let's check back in with Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse.
A few more thunderstorms possible in some areas, especially the eastern Big Bend and perhaps interior South Georgia again. But by the time the kids head off to the bus stop, all the rain and storms will be over. We'll get into a clearing trend with windy conditions, more sunshine, and a return of cool air tomorrow.
Well, all eyes are on football this weekend. The Florida State spring game is this Saturday, and we've got you covered with all pregame details. FSU Spring Football Special Game On will air this Friday at 7:30 p.m. Sports Director Allison Posey and Kyle Logan take a look at the Seminoles as they wrap up spring practice ahead of Saturday's Garnet and Gold game. And I know we've had a rough patch of weather these past couple days. Hopefully this weekend the weather will look nice.
But yeah, Cass, tell us about the weather tonight. Was it less intense than you may have thought, or what have you seen so far?
There was always a split between Northwest and the Tri-State and Southeast and Southeast Big Bend, and that split was pretty valid and verified. But I think some of the intensity, especially in the Big Bend area and the western side, fell below expectations, quite frankly. We did see the rain, we did have some thunderstorms, but the severity of such, especially for, again, the central and southwestern Big Bend area, just was not quite up to what some indications were showing in the forecast data and just the raw indications going into the event. So a little bit of extra cloudiness, I think, could have contributed to at least the lack of strength in some of the storms, especially for the capital region proper. South Georgia and the interior certainly verifying with the intensity levels of severe weather. Napleton Tower Cam atop the Doubletree, cloudy. Occasional rain has been passing through, and the air is still quite saturated, 76 degrees with a dew point of 74. So the moisture is still substantial, and it still can be wrung out in the form of a few more showers. This is part of that same band that slowly made its way through interior South Georgia. The northern edge of it still capable of producing severe thunderstorms and even some tornadoes into the Savannah River area. But the trailing end of it, still active in terms of the moist flow of south and southwest winds, helping to cause a little more lift and producing a few spotty thunderstorms. Not too impressive in overall coverage or strength, especially what's straddling the state line between Madison and Brooks counties. But across the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge, there is a fairly decent looking thunderstorm, not really seeing huge amounts of any kind of low-level cyclonic rotation or anything like that, but it is something to monitor. Also, a few stretches of rain from near Madison and Greenville straight through Clyattville, Valdosta, and Moody Air Force Base. Occasional lightning, rumbles of thunder, and some downpours. These have been moving pretty steadily and progressively, but they also tend to extend offshore. Broken line of thunderstorms, many of which will lift to the northeast while the entire line pushes gradually towards the east. And yet there's another line. This is the actual cold front, and especially in South Georgia and Middle Georgia, again, there could be a few of these intense thunderstorms rumbling through overnight. I think maybe the trail end of that may try to clip some of our Flint River Valley counties and probably with minimal severe weather concerns, but we can't say that the severe weather threat is at zero. It's just not quite there, but it's not quite as enhanced as it was before. But you see the nature of the movement of the showers. They tend to ride right along that very swift lower level southwesterly flow. So thunderstorms are still possible at times across some of our eastern Big Bend areas, and then again perhaps right around 2 to 4 a.m. across interior South Georgia between US 84 and 82. After we get rid of that line, which will pass through before sunrise, we get in on high pressure. Strong, vigorous low will help to funnel in additional dry and even cool air because that high stretches way into the northern latitudes of the continental U.S. So that will help to drive down temperatures, but the winds will be rather impressive and maybe obstructive to your plans for tomorrow. If you have to maybe set up a canopy, you're going to have problems keeping it up if it's not weighed down. RapidCast forecast model showing the advancement of those bands of rain by sunrise. Most of it, if not all, will be off to the southeast of the region, and we will start to initiate a clearing trend. But again, with the increasing sunshine comes high-level winds. And from what I saw, a wind advisory may be going up for some areas because of wind speeds easily over 20 miles per hour. Morning lows mid to upper 50s. Maybe if clouds linger in the southeast Big Bend, you could hover right around 60 degrees, but certainly lower than what you have now. And highs only getting back into the mid and lower 70s. So quite a change from the excess warmth that we've had earlier this month. In South Georgia, also experiencing a clearer trend for the day tomorrow with breezy to windy conditions and coolness. So light jackets or long sleeves should be appropriate for tomorrow. And those winds also a factor in the marine forecast. 20 to 25 knots, even higher gusts upwards of 35. Small craft advisory sees 5 to 8 feet. Choppy on the bay. Rip current risk will be highest in the eastern shores of the Big Bend, but it will be bright and sunny, and that is a trend that continues for several days. A check of your forecast showing coolness for the next few, as well as bright sunshine. And even as temperatures start to warm into next week, I do think we will see an ongoing trend of sunny sky.
So we got a slight dip in temperatures.
Yeah, slightly, and more obviously a little sharp, cool trend compared to the mid and upper 80s that we had before now.
The weekend looking nice, you know? Look at the weekend so far, Cass?
It may be Saturday for me because I like it cool, but Sunday if you like it warm.
All right, we're going to have to head out to the beach this summer.
Stay with us. Sports is next.
Yesterday, the Florida State baseball team got a much-needed win to snap a 4-game skid, a confidence boost, a walk-off victory over top 20 Florida Gulf Coast, a definite boost in the Seminole swag. The Noles looking to turn that win into a win streak, closing out their midweek set with the Eagles this afternoon. FGCU scoring first, top of the third, 2 on for Nick Rivera. The shot to left, driving in both runs. It's 2-0 Eagles early. No worries, though. Bottom frame, Matt Henderson laying down the beautiful bunt and capitalizing off the miscue. The throw off the mark. Drew Mendoza plates. It's 2-1. Florida State tied it in the 4th and then took the lead off the Dylan Busby single through the left side. It's 3-2 Noles, and Mother Nature makes sure that's how it ends today. The rain starts falling after 5 complete. Game's official. 3-2, your final score. Yesterday, St. John Paul II announced the hiring of new head football coach Kes McCorvey. It's a name Florida State fans should be familiar with. McCorvey played for the Noles in the early 90s, winning a national championship back in 1993. Now the chance to come home for McCorvey, too good to pass up. He's coached in the Big Bend before, but most recently, McCorvey was the receivers coach at Middle Tennessee State. Going from college back to high school, not something he's too worried about. At the end of the day, football is just football, and Kes excited to combine his passions at St. JP2.
It was a situation where they wanted to meet the kind of the requirements that I had, man. It was a combination of those things right there. Currently I work for FCA, and so it was a situation where I thought it fit, my other passions as far as, the ministry, and then also it fit my desire to be able to do things I want to do in the school and with the program.
Now, McCorvey said he isn't full-time at St. JP2 just yet. He is still working on moving his family down here, but said he is excited to get the ball rolling. And speaking of getting the ball rolling, guys, Florida State, Garnet and Gold game Saturday. Today was their final practice available to the media. So Huge day. I mean, super excited. Jimbo was saying afterwards that, you know, he's glad to get a lot of guys back. Just about everyone's healthy that was hurt. He's been impressed with a lot of people, specifically naming Godby grad Jacob Pugh. So a lot of exciting things to look forward to. And not only is Florida State in action on Saturday, but Valdosta State, they have their spring game on Saturday as well. And then FAMU is next weekend. So 2 more weeks of football, and then, you know, we hang it up for a couple months and then wait till August.
With the FSU game, I think general admission tickets $5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
Anybody can make it.
Yeah,
Anybody can make it. And that's the thing, too. You know, last year they played in Orlando because Doak was being renovated. So a lot of people didn't get to make the trip. So this year, and that's another thing they're excited about, playing at home in Tallahassee. Jimbo said he wants to pack it out. So 70, 80,000 fans he wants to show up. So those young guys, those fresh faces, get a chance to see what Doak is really like playing come fall. So get out there on Saturday. It's supposed to be beautiful weather. Should be a great game.
Oh, yeah.
And we get to see what our boys got this year.
Yes. Good things.
Stay with us. We're going to get a final look at your forecast when we come right back.
The severe weather threat is much lower, but the thunderstorm threat still exists, initially for the southeast Big Bend and then perhaps a few more areas in interior South Georgia. Not looking at anything noticeable when it comes to severity with those in the Bay, but we'll be tracking those here in the Weather Center through the night.
All right, Cass, thank you for that. And thank you for tuning in. That does it for your newscast.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Have a good night.
Feel the power.